This man grew in Dhanbad, India's coal capital, where the air was thick with smoke and coal dust. He said, when I was young, I was proud to belong to India's coal capital. But as I grew and I realized that coal was the single biggest contributor to carbon emissions, this pride turned into responsibility. At Coca-Cola, Ericsson, Uber Eats, and Swivel, he launched game-changing projects, led operations globally, and managed more than 300 direct reportees, in addition to launching central operation teams in Dubai. Today, he's the head of operations of Yango Ride at MENAP and Africa. He oversees expansion in more than 10 countries. He leads operations, works with regulators, governments, and teams on ground. He also advocates for sustainable, human-centric city designs. His guiding principle is simple. Every minute you spend commuting is a lost minute to your family, your friends, your health, and your passions.
I think we have the numbers right here. And we can definitely finalize something by tonight.
Mr. Shashi, that's your 10th call in the last hour.
1 second. Yasmina, not now. I'm in the middle of something, please.
Exactly my point. Middle of something for the past hour. Time for a better plan.
Right. Yes, just a minute. What's so urgent?
A Cybertruck is waiting downstairs. Podcast crew ready. You're the missing piece.
Are you serious?
Completely. End the call and let's go make something epic.
Guys, let's pick this up a little later. I have a surprise appointment. Okay? Talk soon.
Behind every operator is a human story. This is where we get to know Shashi before dashboards were even a thing. So, Shashi, you grew up in Dhanbad. Am I saying it correctly?
Absolutely.
And as I understood that Dhanbad was like a hub for coal. And you said that you were proud of this, and then you grew up and you knew that coal and the coal industry is behind like 30% of the emissions. Did that realization shape you in any way?
Yes. Thank you, Mason, for this podcast and for this question.
Thank you for having us.
This beautiful environment. Love this Cybertruck. But anyways, getting back to the question, I think generally when you're young, you don't understand a lot of these things, right? Like you take pride in what you see, and we were really kind of surrounded by coal everywhere. And I was very, very proud of that fact that we were powering up the nation, because 70% of the power needs for the country, India, comes from coal. But then, when you grow up, you realize that
you hear about pollution.
You see that coming. You had pollution in the city as well. You could see the dust on your face. But then eventually, when you start growing up and you start reading stuff, you start understanding what's going on, what's sustainability, what are the side effects of things that you do. You realize that even though you're living in an environment that's absolutely kind of necessary for the present world, it might not be kind of as good for the future generations. It could be detrimental. That kind of seeps in a sense of responsibility in you. You are part of an ecosystem that is needed but has its own side effects that you don't see now, but you will see it in future. And this responsibility slowly started coming in, which is where I would say this did play a part.
Do you remember any piece of media that you read that flipped that realization?
I remember working at Swivel, when we were trying to solve certain problems on how to make people connect more with mass mobility or shared mobility. One of the things that we researched was that Google started displaying the carbon emissions for the flights. So when you search for Google Flights, it would show how much the carbon emissions would turn out to be. And we were trying to replicate the same stuff for mass mobility. When you're taking a bus, this is what you would save in terms of carbon emissions. Now, this carbon emissions kind of understanding helped me understand that, oh wow, there's a lot of emissions that are going through just the things that we are using. I think those data points kind of help shape.
This was something super personal to you, but do you think that every single person needs a personal experience in order to realize, what pollution is doing to the planet?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, it would be different for different people. For me, it more looks like, humankind is so absorbed into whatever they are doing at the present. They're so busy, stuck with something that they just think of the now. They just think of the present. They just think of themselves. But sometimes I think you need that shake-up. You need that trigger, which makes you take a step back and see the larger picture. So sometimes it is needed for people like us, normal human beings. For people, many people, it comes naturally as well.
What was your trigger?
I think for me, the trigger was more like an incident with my mom. I would say, this is something that happened in the last 10 years. My mom used to always kind of cough, and we thought it was asthma or something. But then in the last 5-7 years, when we actually went for more rigorous kind of diagnostics, we realized that her lungs were like damaged beyond repair, because she was not able to, like, she used to cook on coal stoves. The smoke from those stoves kind of slowly burnt her lungs, which is where I kind of started realizing that there are side effects known, unknown to everything that we kind of use. And this, I think, somewhere got stuck, that we need to be more responsible. We need to be more careful. We need to be kind of more kind to ourselves and to the future generations. So I think somewhere this could be the trigger point, but not exactly like, translated like this. Maybe in a subtle world, more like this.
Have you shared the story with mobility partners to maybe give them a bigger push to start thinking of sustainability more seriously?
You mean this story?
Yeah.
Not exactly. I think the regulators, for me, surprisingly, have been far more aware than I would have technically expected. They understand the needs for shared mobility. They understand the need for sustainability, ride hailing, all of that. So it makes it a lot more collaborative in a lot more cases.
Who was Shashi at 20? Were you also obsessed with systems, or were you doing something else?
At 20, I think, unlike most of the people in the current world that I see, I would say I was very, very lost. I was nowhere. I was in my undergrads doing engineering, even though I didn't want to. I actually wanted to kind of join civil services. But then that seemed to be very competitive and a very risky option. So then I discussed with my dad and chose a lesser risky option where at least I could fall back on some job. But yeah, I mean, I think after undergrad, I did my MBA. And in the MBA, when I kind of got the opportunity to become cultural secretary and then kind of organize college fests and all of that, I realized that my mojo actually lies in operations and business management.
Did you always imagine that you'd be working across continents, or was this something that just happened?
I didn't have big dreams, to be honest. No, I didn't. I never
Thank
imagined
you for the
honesty. I come from a very small town, like, Dhanbad is not even a tier 2, probably a tier 3 or a tier 4, and I didn't have big ambitions. Like, even before Swivel, I was not willing to come out of India. It was my wife who pushed for, there's a better world outside, so let's go and explore. And Swivel happened.
It was your wife?
It was my wife.
So basically the conclusion of the podcast is always listen to the wife.
I would agree. Like I have always been doing that.
Agree,
yeah.
as a wife.
You would, but on the other side, I'm more agreeing. So it is like, yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's when we explode, and then Suville happened, and then Yango happened, and the journey continues.
You worked across India, the Gulf, and Africa. What was one cultural shift that truly affected the way you lead?
For me, I think every culture has its own strength. So you can't go by one playbook. You have to adapt as a person. So you need to figure out what are the strengths of the people from that culture and help build on that, rather than kind of saying, this is what I know is right, let's do it this way. So adaptability across cultures is probably one of the learnings that I would say that has helped.
But give me an example of that.
Yeah, so let's say for me, the realization that people in the Gulf are, for them, relationships matter a lot. So relationship-based businesses or kind of, when you trust somebody based on relationship, it really works out. Otherwise, it doesn't.
Yeah.
For people in Africa, I would say, that Africa in itself is a big continent. So like, if I kind of segregate it and say, let's say Francophone speaking and Anglophonic speaking, the difference that I've found, and I might be wrong, but this is my learning, that people from Francophone probably look more at the leader to make the decision. People from the Anglophonic side, they want to be more participative in the decision making, and they would most often than not also challenge you if they think differently. So I think different cultures, different nuances, one needs to understand to be able to work well with all of them.
And Yango is headquartered in Dubai. We have people moving to Dubai to join Yango from all across the world every single day. How do you teach your teams about this adaptability? Because sometimes I feel when people move here, they get some cultural shock and they don't know how to really cope with it.
Yeah. I think the at least the approach that I try is I tell people that we are living in a world that's very digital. We're working across continents. You're mostly seeing people on Zoom. Spend more time with the person. You spend time in the country, face to face, talk to the people, build that bond.
Yeah.
So when you build the bond, you understand what that culture is, what those people like, how do they kind of get motivated. That personal bonding across continents cuts this boundary or this cultural shifts kind of problem statements.
Shashi, what does something that people often get wrong about you?
People think I'm a very serious person.
I used to do that too.
See, did the perception change or not?
It did because when I met you at University, I was like, it's actually fun.
But there's the side only comes up when you get to interact more. Like, when you're seeing somebody, like, I mean, I'm obviously busy with a lot of things when,
my interactions with you before the University was, just seeing you in rooms, like, so of course, I wouldn't have the time to make an accurate impression.
Yeah.
How do you ever try to?
I do. I mean, to change the perception, you need to have that time spent. And then once you see me, you would often see me cracking jokes. You've seen me from the glass window.
Yeah.
So you haven't seen me talking.
Yeah.
But when I talk, I do crack jokes on the calls, which people sometimes don't know how to react to because,
Is this a joke? Or is he saying something that accidentally made you laugh?
Yes. So, I mean...
Well, I get that. Yeah. Which is why, by the way, when pro tip from someone that people think is not really a nice person. When I make the first joke on a call, I usually follow it with, By the way, this was a joke. So it made me comfortable now.
Okay. Okay, this is good one.
Yes.
This is a good one.
Only on the first call, because then that's really annoying. Only on the first call. Who do you call when you need brutal, honest advice?
At this moment, there are very few people in the organization. One of them is Adani for me. Whenever I need something, he is the mentor that I go to, be it feedbacks, honest kind of brutal kind of assessment or guidance, anything. That's the go-to person for me, and I think for a lot of people in the company for now.
What is the toughest advice you've ever received?
So the advice that I would say is, and it's a good one, by the way, which is if you're good at doing something, and you consistently do that for a certain period of time, you shouldn't expect exponentially different result with that same stuff that you've been doing. So even if you're good at something, you need to kind of change. If you want, you need to kind of do things differently, be creative every single time to be able to be disruptive. I think this was a very good kind of an assessment of what I have been doing for some time, and then I realized, it makes sense. I mean, if I'm good at something, maybe I'm good at something, but then it brings you up to here.
Yes, because 1 + 1 will always equal 2.
Exactly. So how do I kind of be more disruptive with the way I do things is very important for myself and for the business in general.
And I feel this is the school of thought that Yango follows, right?
Absolutely.
Because we're always being pushed to get out of the comfort zone,
Correct.
to risk everything every single day,
Absolutely.
think of new things. And at least for me, getting out of the comfort zone is starting to feel a bit better, not too scary, which is, I don't know if this is a new comfort zone now.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes things might not work, but at least you learn.
Yeah.
And then you iterate. You iterate fast. So I think that's very, very important.
Yeah. What's one ritual or something that you do that keeps you grounded in high pressure weeks? With Yango, I know all weeks are high pressure weeks. So the higher pressure weeks.
I would say one thing that I've been able to do consistently is to kind of follow my routine of morning jogging and running. I think that helps me. Why does it help me is because I get that time where I think, I clear my head, I kind of can plan, and it helps me take a step back when I'm stuck. So that routine really, really helps.
If you could send one line, a letter that has one line to your 20-year-old self, I'm getting very creative with the questions, what would it be?
I would have said, don't do electronics, do computer science. At least it would have, I would have been more, I would have garnered more strength to do something on my own. I mean, I could have built something and done my own startup. You never know.
Next question is, and this is definitely in the list of questions, I did not just make this up. Speaking of startups, if you ever start your own startup, would you hire me? And why yes?
Of course. I mean, see, every personality has a role. So there is a role for everybody, and holistically, you cannot have just one type of people run organizations, right? So your role, the kind of persona you are, you're good at doing that. So of course, why not?
I'm very expensive.
Don't worry, my startup will raise a lot of funds.
Oh, okay. So I'm in. By the way, I'm in. Okay.
Or sweat equity, that works.
I feel like this is for no, I want the money. No, I'm just
See, that's why you're not thinking long term. That's the problem. Think long term. If you want to be in a startup, you have to think more long term.
Let me think about it.
Yeah.
Okay. For now, I just do these podcasts and I'll think about it. Okay. At Uber Eats, At Uber Eats, you managed operations across 10 cities, and you tested India's three-wheel service. First, what is three-wheel?
Okay, I didn't test three-wheel service. I tested cross-dispatch on a three-wheeler for food. So basically,
what is a three-wheeler?
I will tell you. So,
to me, it sounds like a bike.
bikes are two-wheelers. Come on, bikes cannot be three-wheelers.
Beginner bikes.
Something like that. You call them tuk-tuks.
Just say tuk-tuks.
Yes.
Why three-wheelers?
I mean, not a lot of people understand tuk-tuks.
But in the Arab world, they're also called tuk-tuks.
Yes, in a lot of places they are called tuk-tuks. But in India, I mean, they are not called tuk-tuks. They're called auto rickshaws. So it's different. But yeah, it's the same stuff. But technically, the three-wheelers or auto rickshaws are not used for food delivery. They are only used for
transportation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but we had that supply, and we had a very typical rainy season. Rainy seasons is when bike deliveries becomes risky and difficult, right? But at the same time, the three-wheelers are underutilized during those seasons because people are staying at home. They can't kind of really go out in the rains and stuff. So the idea was to utilize those three-wheelers and bring food to people when the two-wheelers are not able to deliver food.
Were the drivers of the three-wheelers, did they receive this idea well? Did they get used to it immediately?
Not exactly, because like for somebody who's transporting people, they don't need to come out of their vehicle to collect the food. They don't need to come out of the vehicle to go 10 floors up and deliver the food. So they're not used to that. They're used to standing on the road and people coming to them and then delivering. Right. So for them, it was like, man, I can do it, but I'll not go into the restaurant and wait. I can do it, but I don't want to go upstairs. I want the customers to come down and collect the food. So somewhere there was a learning curve for both the consumer and the drivers in this journey, but it was meaningful.
So other than this problem or this obstacle, did you face anything else? Didn't it just immediately work?
I mean, from a technical perspective, it was easy because we had a lot of supply already available. You just had to kind of enable this service on that supply. The difficult part was the experience part, which needed a lot of education to some extent.
When you were in Swivel, you led more than 300 people. That's a big number of people. What was the toughest lesson you learned when you were skating that fast?
I think when you in the early stages of your startup, right? Most of the things are very scrappy. You don't build and then kind of fly. You are flying while you're trying to build something. So most of the operations and processes were very, very manual. Okay, and that was very difficult. So the idea to kind of automate a lot of these processes using whatever tools, work automation tools are available, or scripts, so that was the challenge when you have like a big team, everybody aligned to the same goal, or everybody being able to kind of execute with the same kind of let's say reliability was challenging. So the idea was to kind of push for more and more automated workflows.
And then now at Yango, you manage operations across more than 10 countries. Which market has tested you the most? Be honest, it's okay.
Oh man, there are quite a few of them, but I think what I'm still struggling with is Morocco.
Why? Why Morocco?
Why Morocco? So Morocco is one of those markets that's regulated, and we have red taxis, and the concept of P2P or VTCs, which is private cars, is not very, very common there, and it's prohibited by law. So kind of establishing something which is not kind of accepted widely and there's no clear regulation, there is a lot of pushback. There's a lot of pushback from different communities. I mean, looking at it in hindsight, we could have done a few things differently, but then that's always in hindsight. But yeah, it has tested us and me personally a lot.
How do you plan to tackle this? If the issue is about regulations, do you approach the regulators first, or do you start building and then approach?
We try both, actually. I mean, for this problem statement, I think thankfully we have a good public policy team. And the idea is that the governments also realize, the regulators also realize that change is inevitable. You know, they slowly start seeing it in the markets themselves. And then there is a mounting pressure of new development, new events that are coming into the country. So talking about Morocco, for example, they have this Cup of Nations that is coming towards the end of the year. They also are hosting the World Cup in 2030. So there is a big need for change in the mobility landscape, and the government is working towards it. And I think we are kind of trying to be participative in this process with the government. That's where we see the problem getting solved in general, not only for us, but for the industry.
Yeah. Yango launched prayer mode for drivers. So walk me through this journey from the idea to execution. How did this happen?
To be honest, like not on the camera, but I did not kind of participate in this process, but I'll still try and answer this question.
It's okay, do that.
Yeah.
Because you're the only person who we are getting from the service, so basically you represent everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, it comes from small insights. You see a lot of things, but sometimes you assume that it's not needed. There's no latent need, or there's no real need for this kind of a thing. But there is in the back a latent need which people don't know, right? So when we kind of came up with this idea, it was like, man, do people really need this?
Yeah.
But then when we talked to the drivers, they said it could be a good thing for us. It's like a hygiene, but a very good thing to have. And that's how we kind of came up with this idea to develop it. And then the good part was the drivers kind of reciprocated on this really well. They really loved this. And this is where I think probably the whole context of localization of a product comes into play.
Okay, in your TEDx, you talked about the 20-minute city. What is that?
We are living in a world where everybody is dealing with traffic, pollution, delays. What are we essentially doing? Like, we've made ourselves live in a world after industrialization where we've separated cities in zones. There is a commercial zone, there's a residential zone, and then there is some public kind of amenities zone and stuff. And then you put in these cars on the roads to kind of traverse between these different zones. And there's so many cars on the roads that's created this massive problem of traffic and congestion. The idea here is to kind of move more towards mixed land use development, which is where different zones can coexist. So schools, offices, residences, hospitals could just coexist in a small community, and you could traverse for daily needs, like almost 80% of your needs within 20 minutes. So that's the concept of a 20-minute city for me.
And how is that vision influencing the decisions that you make at Yango?
So that is slightly different from what I do, because that's a concept which I want to propagate to the government, to the authorities, to kind of start building cities differently. But if I look at it, the idea also is if there is a good public infrastructure of public transport, then how does Yango integrate with that to provide the first and the last mile connectivity to make it at least 20 minutes within the public infrastructure stations, let's say. So basically, if there's a good connectivity, you are able to make it a seamless, integrated platform where you can book through all the services just with the click of one button. And to add to it, you have like multimodal transport options that you add in Yango, which help you through like these transportation needs, apart from ride hailing, integrating transport. You also have micro-mobility like kick scooters. You to kind of integrate for the first and the last mile. So this is how, this vision gets embedded into the work that we do.
What keeps you awake at night more? Scaling too fast or scaling too slow?
I've been in startups throughout my life. So slow is a problem.
Yeah.
You want to do fast, disrupt, move ahead. So if there's something that's not moving, like the current situation where we're stuck in traffic, not moving, it's a problem.
But have you ever been in a situation where you deliberately and intentionally chose to slow down? Not in traffic, I mean chose to slow down the scaling.
Yeah, sometimes, and it's been the case. I remember an example in Kinshasa where we kind of were trying to scale fast, burning a lot of money, but we were not kind of getting the desired outcome. So sometimes, you need to take a step back to think what's not working.
Yeah.
If you're throwing money at the problem and it's not solving, then probably that's not the problem.
Yeah.
So that's where you take, you slow down. You say, okay, maybe it needs to solve differently.
Yes. Yeah.
So you need to figure out the alternative path.
Yeah.
Listen more to the users, the drivers, who are the actual consumers of the service, and then kind of implement some of those things. This is where, being more grounded with the actual reality helps.
So, Shashi, this is where we push for unfiltered truth. Are you ready?
No.
No? Well, too bad, because we're gonna start anyways. Okay, finish this sentence. You can't copy-paste mobility across cities because...
I mean, there are different regulations, different landscapes. There are different challenges in different countries. So it's impossible to copy-paste.
What is one truth or fact in ride-hailing that you think is overrated?
A couple of them, actually. One that I think, a lot of times people say this, which is if you're not the number one or the number two player in the market, then there's no possibility for you to exist. I think a bit differently. I still believe that there are ways out to make yourself kind of be there and probably then climb up the ladder eventually as well.
Which one city or what is one city that you think will surprise people in the next 3 years?
Ride-hailing again?
Yeah.
There are a couple of them that I would say I would place my bet on in Africa especially. There is Addis Ababa and there is Kinshasa. I think both of them simply by the logic that the population there is more than 10 million people.
Yeah.
And it's highly underserved. So eventually, mobility is a commodity. Everybody needs it. You just need to put it in the right way. So I think these two will be the surprises.
Finish this sentence. In 5 years, people will not believe we used to...
actually book a cab by tapping buttons on the phone. It'll be just simple voice commands.
So, do you think we'll go back to the way it was?
I mean, yes, seamlessly integrating to that normal, usual way of living.
Yeah.
You think, you say, oh, I need a taxi from here to there.
Yeah.
And then, the AI system will be able to kind of book a cab based on your needs.
Yes, but you know what I think? That we are going back slightly to the way things were. So before we used to call a cab, and now we're not going to call a cab. We're going to do voice command, which is a one-way call.
Yes, and that was simple, right?
Yes,
you don't have to navigate fares and all of those things.
Yeah.
Compare prices.
Apps.
Yes. All of it will become simple. So there will be a system that will do all of this and simplify your experience.
Let's see. So in 5 years, I'm going to check with you.
Let's do it.
What if you lose this bet? What do I get?
I shave off my head. Okay.
Right. Now we're going to play a game called We Listen and We Don't Judge.
Okay.
Do you know the game?
I mean, I can understand. Yeah.
Okay, I'll teach you what we'll do.
Okay.
It's a game where we basically both say at the same time, we listen and we don't judge.
We say both same?
at the same time. Yes, we
Okay.
say the sentence.
Okay.
And then you'll say something
Okay.
that I shouldn't judge you for. Okay, yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah. So at 3, we both say we listen and we don't judge. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
We listen and we don't judge. So I've actually kind of scheduled my emails for midnight and later just to show off that I'm working late at night.
I'm judging you.
I mean, yes.
But I won't judge a lot because I've done the same thing.
See, everybody does that. Like early on in the career, like,
Yeah, it's a hustle. We need to get the promotion. Okay.
at least the acknowledgement. You know, you work hard, but sometimes you don't get the acknowledgement.
Yeah,
I was
that's
trying
true.
for that.
Did you get it?
Yeah, I mean, no.
No. I think you did, being who you are at this time.
Maybe this is not because I did that. This is because I actually worked hard.
So
Maybe.
if someone from your team, if you see someone from your team scheduling emails at 5 a.m., give you the impression that they're waking up this early, how would you feel about this? Does it make you cringe or do you appreciate
no,
it?
I appreciate it. I mean, as long as the work is done,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if sending emails scheduled ones at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. If you
Just
finish your
please,
job,
just-
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. At 3, we say it again.
Yeah.
Okay? 1, 2, 3.
We listen and we don't judge.
But my son judges a little bit.
So, you know, like, we went for this sauna, Vanya, and everybody was doing it once and kind of shivering and kind of getting panicked and all of that. Just to show off to the team, I did it twice, back to back.
You're so cringe. You're so cringe. What did that get you?
Nothing. People appreciate it. The guy is so strong.
Did they? Did they really do that? Or did they just WhatsApp
don't
each
know.
other?
I don't know.
This time,
Now we need to check.
Kill the
Yeah, but I think I was trying to impress. Yeah.
Okay, now tell me about a lie that you did to escape work.
This one is boring. I don't know.
You don't?
No, I don't.
Let me think of something that I did. I always use my cats as an excuse.
I mean, for me, it's more like, you know, I'm very unsocial.
Yeah.
Very, very unsocial. So for me, it's more like when somebody invites me for a party or a dinner, I always lie.
So this is basically a disclaimer on camera
Yeah.
for anyone who's inviting Shashi to anything social. Whatever he's saying to you to get
He's
out of
lying,
it
yeah.
is a lie. So we invite you all to list the lies so we can rate them in our next podcast. From worst to best lie.
Yeah, guilty as charged.
Okay, if everyone's gonna know that you lie anyways, why don't you just say no?
I mean,
I say something super simple.
yeah,
You know, when it's 90%
it's still
of
not,
the time.
it's not polite. So I try to be polite.
I think I'm past that. So when people tell me, "Oh, my son, let's go for dinner after work," and we finish work so late, so dinner, I'm not that young anymore. So I'm like, guys, do I need to see you all day at work?
And then again,
And then at the night, and you're coming up with plans on the weekend. Stop. We need some person.
I can try that as well. I mean,
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. This is a wake-up call to everyone. We should get our own personalities that are not codependent.
Absolutely. I agree. I mean, don't want to quote it, but yes, I mean, I need my time.
Yeah. Okay. So, Shashi, operations needs someone who is super smart. So the team prepared some riddles to test how smart you are.
That's a myth. You need people who actually can kind of hustle, not smart people.
In order to know how to hustle correctly, you have to be smart enough.
Let's try.
Right?
Let's
Okay,
try.
yeah. A man buys a car for $10,000 and sells it for $12,000. and then buys it back for $30,000 and then sells it for $15,000. What's his total profit?
Sells it at 12, so 2,000. Then 13 he buys it again, so a loss of 1,000. Then he sells it at 15, so 5,000 and 1,000. So I think 4,000.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So you are smart.
I mean, I can make things up as well. Yeah.
You can't make math. You just made the calculation on camera, so technically you cannot make it up. I think you have imposter syndrome. Do you have imposter syndrome?
What is that?
Imposter syndrome is that when you kinda internally, not you're not in front of people, you underestimate yourself. So you are in a room, maybe you're in a room with senior people, with super smart people, and there's this tiny thought inside of you that says, they're so much smarter. Maybe I fooled them to think that I deserve to be here, but maybe I don't. This is imposter syndrome.
Maybe. I think there are people who have said this to me.
Yes, because, as the designated unofficial therapist for Yango Group.
Oh, you do that?
I just did, now. I just made this up. But I just, assigned myself this role. I think you have imposter syndrome.
Okay. I mean, is it a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing to stay humble, I guess, but it's a bad thing when you don't realize your own worth. You can only launch in one market this year. Market A, stable, but no growth. Market B, unpredictable, fast. Market C, risky, lawless, and huge potential. Which do you choose and why?
I think the potential one is the one that we would go for anyways, because...
I knew the answer of this question because this is what we do.
Yeah. You take bets and go into the markets where you can get big returns. So, I mean, it's straightforward.
Now it's, okay, I'm going to ask you a question, but you need to answer super, super fast, so you cannot think.
I'm mentally slow, so let me try.
You definitely have imposter syndrome.
Let's try.
I'm mentally slow. You passed the person in second place. Which place are you at?
Still second.
Okay, you took time, so you failed. Okay.
See, I told you I'm slow.
Now, I'm going to ask you a series of questions that you're not allowed to think of. You just have to answer immediately, okay? They're rapid questions.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
No thinking, Shashi.
Okay.
3 apps you can't live without. No thinking.
Banking apps.
Okay.
Communication apps.
Yeah.
And browser or GPTs.
Okay. Book or podcast that changed the way you think?
There was a book that I was reading a few years back. That was The Code Breaker. This is by, I think, Isaac Walterson or Isaacson Walter, something like that. But the book is about a scientist, Jennifer Doudna, who was kind of working on gene editing. I think that book kind of left an impression. There is immense possibilities that humankind is still kind of exploring much more, and I mean, we're living in a world where all of this thing is happening. So, it is all fulfilled. It gives you that kind of feeling that you're living in the right time.
Guilty pleasure street food.
Any Indian street chaat. I'm a desi guy, a pure hardcore Indian. So any street food, Indian chaats.
I love pani puri.
Yeah.
Public speaking, love it or dread it?
I like it, but there is a bit of nervousness every time I do it. So yeah.
A startup you wish you founded?
I want to do it myself. I don't want to kind of take someone else's. I want to do something.
Correct answer. If you were to send one tweet to the world and that would be it, just one tweet that the whole world will see, what would it be?
That would be I would say live, let live.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And the last thing, Shashi, we loved having you here. You've spoken about your career, about how your wife is always correct, about your favorite food, about a lot of cringe things, and about honestly how impressive your journey, whether at Yango or previous corporations, have been, super, super impressive. If you were to give one advice that would be passed to the next generation of operation leaders and leaders, in mobility and ride hailing, what would that be?
Every extra minute spent commuting is a minute that we lose to ourselves, to our family, and to our passions. Change begins with awareness, but transformation needs collective will. It's time to redesign our cities into smarter, connected, and more livable spaces. Thank you so much, guys, for watching us. And if you liked it, please do like, share, subscribe, and comment. And also do tell us if you liked my jokes or they were dad jokes, as people tell me. Okay, thank you.
They were dad jokes.
Ah!
Bye.